hole because I know the law of cause and effect is real. So if this negative thinking, this negative conversation is not going to get what they want, then I have a part and a responsibility to make sure that I keep them on the path to where they want. Friends, I know what they want. They talk to me about their dreams, their hopes, desires. I know people want to have a good life. So generally, when somebody is trying to enroll me, my mind literally is becoming an observer, like hovering over the situation. First of all, I'm not very emotionally charged. I have mastered getting to neutral in my life very quickly. Like, people say that know me, like, you are the master of neutral. I don't know where that comes from. I think it could be from managing massive teams of people and just having to just become that kind of sounding board and that neutral person. But if you can get to a state of neutral and not being highly emotional charged, you can kind of be more objective to the situation and then really think, like, is this going to help them get to where they want? Because I want to help them get to where they want. I don't want to help them not manifest their dreams, their hopes, their desires, peace, whatever that is. And so my perspective comes from that place. It's standing in a place to stand for them, to have what they want. And so when you take on this perspective, you won't be able to get enrolled as much. I'm not saying you won't be able to get enrolled, but you won't be able to be enrolled as much because you have this bigger responsibility towards the bigger picture at the end of the day. And so that's where I always come from. So literally, it happens to me all the time. I went into a situation last night with a girlfriend, and she just started talking about war and all of that stuff that's going on and everything that's currently going on in the world. And I literally sat there and said, you just told me about everything that you want to achieve in your business, right? You believe, right? Like, what you think about, what you talk about, words are powerful. Words are powerful. And it will come about when you talk about this. And this isn't like just because when you're saying things you want and talking about good things, it happens. No, no, no. You talk about any words, it happens, because the universe is not partial to negative or positive. The universal law of cause and effect is just exact. It doesn't know good or bad. It just knows what you say and what you think about and what you feel. So knowing this, whatever you say, feel, think is going to become more about. That's why I think this is so powerful. And this is really where we can all change the world if we really step into this idea, because then I'm going to allow you to derail you achieving what you want in your business because you want to talk about something that you got enrolled in by watching the news. I'm not going to let you do that. That might sound harsh, but do you want me to? Because I really don't want to. I really want to help you talk about this. And if I was coaching you, this is what it would sound like. And she was like, you're right. She's like, you're right. And I was like, yeah. She says, but how do you know what's going on in the world? I said, people like you tell me. I just heard all of it in like 5 seconds. I'm just not going to carry this conversation on for an hour. I'd rather talk about what's exciting and what's coming up, what you're going to achieve, and how can I support you do that. And usually how can I support you do that? I'd rather hear about the exciting things that are going on. I'd rather talk about the good things in your life, the things that you want, so that I know how best to support you achieve them. What does that sound like? How do you feel when I say that to you? And it always shifts the conversation. It's just taking a stand. And I think because we're very conflict adverse and we want to feel accepted, a lot of times we go along in situations that really we know deep down in our heart we don't feel good about it, but we just do for whatever reason. You might be in a work situation or work environment, you're just enrolled in a conversation about somebody, or because you don't want to lose your job, whatever it is. I get it, but like, be a stand for what you want to see in the world. That's really where I come from. And then it becomes easy because then I just call it for what it is. You're enrolling me in a negative conversation, right? It's like, you're like not drinking water every day. Drink some water. You didn't go to the gym this week. You're enrolling me in a negative conversation. It just becomes part of the conversation. That's it.
Right, right. That's so good. You said 2 really important things. I hope people got it. First of all, Master of Neutral, like, we're adding that to the list of books we're going to be publishing soon. That needs to be a book. Master of Neutral. There's this show or this comedian called Nephew Tommy. I mean, don't watch it. Okay, it's not good. It's not good for you. But what he does is he prank calls people. So he'll call someone and say, you know, he'll get in cahoots with their family or with their coworkers or whatever, and he'll call them and kind of play the prank, right? So one of the pranks that he did a couple years ago was he called this guy and said, "Listen, I'm calling from your car service. We're going to pick you up tomorrow morning at around 7 a.m., take you to the airport for your flight, right?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, thanks for calling. I appreciate the confirmation." And he goes, "Listen, there's a little wrinkle. You know, everything's fine. We're going to be there, but we only have one car left, and it's a hearse." And the guy was like, "You're going to pick me up in a hearse and take me to the airport?" He was like, "All right, fine, whatever. I got to get to the airport, okay, whatever." And he says, "There's one more little wrinkle. There's a dead body in the back of the hearse. We have to drop it off at the church, and that's sort of on the way to the airport. Or, you know, we're going to drop you off first, but then we'll go drop off the hearse." He's like, "You want to pick me up in a hearse with a dead?" And he loses his mind. I mean, he starts screaming and he's cursing and he's just out of control. And then the guy plays with him because he's a comedian, right? So he plays with him for 5 or 10 minutes. And then he goes, "Hey, guy, this is a prank. Your wife got us to prank phone call you, and we thought this would really be funny." And this is just what he does, right? Do not watch this show. I'm serious. Don't watch it. So the point is that so many of us are already skewed toward like over emotional. It doesn't take much of anything. You see it everywhere, right? It doesn't take anything to get us off our square and have us behaving in ways that don't reflect who we are, or at least don't reflect who we want to be in the world. So all of that was my plug for Master of Neutral. It's a book coming up by April Sabrla. I'm kidding. Okay.
You're not, though. I know you're not. That's the thing.
You know you're going to get a phone call after this. You know you are, right? But here's the thing about the other thing that you're saying when you're talking about like the war. You know, let's talk about it, because this is one thing April particularly wanted in the book, and I'm so glad that she put it in there. What was an actual mock conversation between two people in an office environment, and the one person thought that the positive person was being insensitive. Imagine that, taking a positive perspective being viewed as insensitive, as not being empathetic to the things that are going on in the world. And one of the things that April talks about so much, which is so true, if I know about the war, what am I going to do about the war? I'm not a diplomat. I'm not a world leader. I'm not going to be involved in any of the conversations. Okay, strike that. I can't help there. I'm not a fighter, so I'm not going to go over there and get involved in the war. So strike that. So what can I do? Well, maybe I can make a donation to humanitarian organizations that are going to help people who are struggling, send medical supplies and food and water. Maybe what I could do is pray for the people and pray for the leaders and pray for peace. And I can do that. What are the things I can actually do? Because ruminating in things I can't control is a straight shot toward negativity. It can ruin your entire day. I remember the day I found out about what happened with the war. It was so difficult to get myself back into this positive vein. But you can be active by just seeing where you can be a support to the people, to the causes, to the person you're talking to, whomever is bringing you that negativity. Just offer to be a support. And I think that's a really great way to shift that negative conversation to a positive one.
Yeah, and it's interesting. It's like praying, right? We do talk about prayer in the book because it's almost like we pray when we have so much obstacles, bad, negative things happening, but we don't think about prayer when everything's going well, right? Like we only pray when things are going bad. And I always say, like, prayers to me are like your thoughts and your words. That's what a prayer is, right? It's literally your thoughts and your words. And there's no right or wrong way to pray. So that's why I say all the time, like, really think about what you're thinking about what you're saying about, because what you're saying and what you're thinking every day, I feel like you're praying all day, kind of, because you're putting it out there. So imagine if you're sitting at dinner and somebody's enrolling you in this conversation about this many deaths, whatever's happened, there's hurricanes, there's things that are happening where we live, right? Like not to that extent, but like things are happening everywhere where people die every day. This is the natural cycle of the world that we live in. It's always been like that. It will probably always be like that. I hope that we can change it, but who knows? It's been like this from since time. And imagine when somebody sits at dinner and starts talking to you and you just say, you know what? Let's just pray for them. Why not enroll somebody in that? Like literally. And, reflecting on that conversation, I was like, I could have done that. I could have stepped up and done that. Why don't we do that? I think we're in fear of judgment, in
Yeah.
fear of being judged, in fear of being condemned, in fear of being whatever, like, yeah, just judgment is a big one. And that's why we don't take a stand, and we don't take a stand for what we truly believe in because of judgment. But so powerful to think about what you can do to support them, right? Like literally, we can't talk and complain about that and the amount of death, but we could do something about being positive to help. And so I think that's transformative. That's what is transformation at its best. It's when people, transformation can't happen without positive thinking. It just can't, because you're not in a solution-based mindset to be able to create something new, to create and solve a problem, right? So yeah, this enrollment thing, it's a serious thing. I think enrollment, honestly, enrollment is daily, every minute. It's happening all the time around us. And so my hope and desire really is for people to be enrolled in positive conversations, in positive solutions, in uplifting others. And that's what I do when I go into organizations, right, with leaders. It's like enrolling them in a way of like being that's just so positive and uplifting for everybody around them, so that they can create that ripple. That ripple is so important.
It's so funny. You see the dog in the background. April and I both have dogs in our lives, and the dogs don't belong to either of us, but we're blessed to have them in our space. And boy, if I'm really feeling negative, like I'm loving having this dog here, I don't know that my daughter could ever have her back. She could call and ask. She maybe, dial 911. I don't know. But I don't know that I can ever give her up, because what she is a bastion of positivity. She truly is, all day, every day. If you're really in that negative space, go pet an animal. I mean, the science is there. It releases endorphins. It improves your mood. It can sometimes break the hold of depression. Just go pet an animal.
Yeah, it's true. It's so true. Like, he literally enrolls me in getting up out of bed at 7 a.m. in the morning to go for a run. And like, if he was not here enrolling me and taking him for a run, like looking at me, I wouldn't do it. So, there's something to be said for that. It's like what's in your life is enrolling you in positive things. So I buy into that. I've never lived with a dog before either, but I will tell you, like, I truly believe that. I think he's having an impact on my mental health for sure.
Oh, for
100%.
sure.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
sure. Yeah, if she
yeah.
ever left, I'd have to actually go the next day and buy a dog. I don't know that I could ever live without a dog again.
What other questions do you have about enrollment before we wrap up this segment? Because we're moving on now to step 5. But any other thoughts or things that come up in your life around enrollment?
Yeah, I know that. So sometimes people are concerned about whether or not they need to get something off their chest. Is that going to signal a lack of commitment to positivity? And how do you know which things you should be working the steps on? Should you be doing
Mm.
your, release, reach, and reframe? Or are you in a place where you actually need support? I know one person actually asked me um, about therapy, and actually going and getting therapy. Is that lacking a commitment to positivity? And I thought that was a really interesting question. So those are some of the things I think people struggle with around this concept of enrolling other people in their misery and in their drama that you might speak to.
Yeah. Yeah, I think therapy is necessary at moments of time, right? Like, as a coach, I deal with this because I coach people, and sometimes it borderlines the thing of like, I can't help you with that. I actually think you need to go get therapy to deal with that, because a coach is about moving you forwards. A therapist is about taking you backwards to release, so that you can walk back over and discover where it came from. So I think if it's really deeply rooted and you really look at your life and say what's not working, you may need to go get a therapist. the scales of everything. Like there's an emotional scale, right? Like if you look at a scale of like 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, highest vibration, highest energy. And this will be in the workbook, by the way, because I've been doing work on finding vibrational scales, which is really cool. But like you literally have neutral in the bottom, in the middle, and then you have a scale up and you have a scale down. So I do this with leaders. So I ask you to kind of like identify if you had neutral in the middle and you had 3 emotions that went positive and 3 emotions that went down, what would those emotions be, and name them, because they're very different for people. For me, joy is my top emotion, and the bottom one is concern. Some people, the bottom one will be hopelessness, right? Concern to hopelessness, it's a very different scale, right? When you think about that.
Yeah.
And hopelessness is where you're like, you don't know where else to turn. And that's when people can unfortunately take their lives and things like that, but they don't really talk about it. So I always ask people to do the emotional scale, which will be in the workbook and journal, and really articulate them and really identify it, name it. And then if you're looking at your scale on a daily basis and you're down below the neutral line and you're hitting down at the bottom and your bottom is hopelessness or, something like that, you may need to get therapy. You may need to get it because that's at a different scale than concern. Mine is just worry, lack, concern. I don't ever get to desperation, right? Like very rare. Probably, I mean, I've been there. Let's say this. I've been there in moments of my life, and I have had therapy at that, years ago. But I've done so much work now on myself that I don't ever get there anymore, right? So, but we've all got different tolerances to different things based on the experiences that we're going through in life, based on what our soul journey is, based on, I can go into all of that, but I'm not going to go there, based on everything that we signed up before we got here. I really, truly believe that. So I think doing that work on that emotional scale may indicate what you need. And it's a good visual. I have it on my vision board. I have my scale on my vision board, and I'm like, it's like a radio dial where I'm tuning it every day. And I'm like, am I tuning up or am I tuning down? And tuning up is like doing the things that make you feel good, listening to a song you love, going for a walk, having a cup of matcha is my thing, right? Like I love matcha tea. So have a cup of matcha. Calling my daughter lifts my mood, right? She's like, oh, why is mom FaceTiming me again? Like, really? Leave me alone, But she told me this morning, I'm having a good parental week. I had a good interaction with you and I had a good interaction with my father. I'm like, okay, good. It's a good week for you, But, those kind of things, right? But yeah, so that's the therapy question. What was the other question? The therapy question, I think I missed the other one. I don't know if I answered it, but.
Yeah, I actually think that you did. I think that you did. So I would want to encourage everyone to, first of all, get the workbook. I think this workbook is going to be revolutionary. It may surpass the book. I don't know. I don't know. And like in my heart, because I'm so excited about the opportunity to see people doing the work. Sometimes when you read a book, you don't do the work. You just read it. You go, that's really great. This could work. This would be great. And then you don't take the next step. So I'm so excited about the workbook. And we have a big giveaway coming up, guys, a huge giveaway. We're giving away books. We're giving away workbooks. We've got some vanity pouches. We've got bracelets. We've got all kinds of cool merch that we're going to be giving away. We're actually even going to be giving away some coaching and counseling, or coaching time, not counseling. We're not counselors, but some coaching time. So if you've got some big goals and some big dreams and you just need someone to sort of help you move through the steps, this is a great opportunity to get what people pay April thousands of dollars to have. Thousands upon thousands of dollars to have access to her. So 1 or 2 lucky people are going to actually get an opportunity to get some coaching. We've got all kinds of good stuff coming up on this giveaway. So if you really want to know how to get your hands on this stuff, you've got to be connected to our community. This isn't just about a book. This is a movement. This is a global movement of positivity, spreading positivity around the world. That's what we're about. We know it's big. We get it. We know it's wild, but we're doing it. We're actually doing it. And we want you to be a part of the journey with us. So make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. That way you'll always know when there's a new episode. But more importantly, give us your comments, give us your feedback. Even if you don't agree with what we're saying, we want to hear that too. We're not afraid of a little bit of pushback, because these are concepts that we believe are so solid and so strong. They can stand up to scrutiny, and only things that can stand up to scrutiny are of value, right? So definitely connect with us in any way you feel comfortable connecting. And we are looking forward to seeing you guys next time.
Bye for now.